Hello, everybody. This is Andrew Sherman of the MLBeers podcast, and today we're starting our first ever MLBeers Historical Showdown, where it's the fans versus the hosts. Last week, the hosts, chose the Florida Marlins just for the hell of it. The 1997 Florida Marlins, to be exact. And you, the fans, had four choices. As you see on the screen, you chose the 1996 New York Yankees, but the other choices were the 1974 Oakland A's, the 1926 St. Louis Cardinals, and the 1990 Cincinnati Reds. And this is going to be very interesting. 1 year apart. The year before, with the 96 Florida Marlins, they were barely under 500, and it was odd to see the Florida Marlins becoming barely under 500 to world champions within 4 years, I should say, since their establishment in 1993. And with the Yankees, you have the core four. The 96 Yankees, you have the core four with Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, Derek Jeter, and Mariano Rivera. I'm not going to change any of the settings here. You already know that. So here we go. Let's create the exhibition here. And I think the interesting thing is, are we going to see the Marlins win this out, or the Yankees just dominate? Of course, I'm not going to mess with the rosters. The rosters are going to be on their own accord by the computer. And so here we go. We have the 96 New York Yankees on the left here. We have Derek Jeter, Wade Boggs, Bernie Williams, Joe Girardi, which he is now the manager of the New York Yankees, Tino Martinez, Tim Raines, Darryl Strawberry, Cecil Fielder. Really good lineup right there. With hitting, with pitching, Mariano Rivera, of course, Andy Pettitte, Jimmy Key, Dwight Gooden, Doc Gooden, and Kenny Rogers. With the Florida Marlins, we have Bobby Bonilla, Moises Alou, Craig Counsell, Edgar Renteria, Gary Sheffield, of all players. And then with pitching, we have Kevin Brown, Alex Fernandez, Livan Hernandez, and Al Leiter. And this is going to be one of the more interesting setups. But this is the first one. So here we go. Like I said in the introduction of how we're gonna do this, is that the first game will be simulated, and the game one will be in Florida. The Yankees will have Andy Pettitte on the mound, while the Florida Marlins have Kevin Brown. So here we go. We're just going to simulate, and your New York Yankees defeat the Florida Marlins 3-0. Mariano Rivera gets the win. Wolfsburg gets the loss, and the save will be by Jeff Nelson. So let's look at the box score real quick. Jeter had 7 at-bats in this game, but three hits, 1 strikeout. And it looked like it was really overpowering, like I brought up earlier with the Yankees. 14 hits, 3 runs, which is really interesting. And they all got them all in the 14th inning of this game, so it went into extras. For the Florida Marlins, it was surprising that Bobby Bonilla, even though he had 6 at-bats, and also Gary Sheffield, none of them connected. Not surprising that Bobby Bonilla had 3 strikeouts. And for the pitching side of it, we had Pettitte going 8 innings, Waddling with 2, Rivera with 3, which that's really interesting. You never see that with a reliever like him. He's usually your closer, and then Jeff Nelson with the save. While Kevin Brown went 9 innings with 5 hits, 11 Ks. And I don't think I can see anybody else beating that. But anyway, that was game one. Andy Pettitte becomes the player of the game, and the game was 4 hours and 34 minutes long. So back to it. Game two of the series. The Yanks are up 1-0. Jimmy Key for the Yanks, Alex Fernandez for the Marlins. And the Yanks beat the Florida Marlins 4-2, but it looks like Derek Jeter suffered a day-to-day injury and a strained posterior cuellate ligament, moderate effect. Recovery is expected to take 4 weeks. So Derek Jeter, rookie, is out for the it looks like out for the series, and Key gets the win here for the Yankees. Alex Fernandez gets the loss. Jeff Nelson gets the save. Home runs were hit by Mariano Duncan, Bobby Bonilla, and Gary Sheffield, where they bring the power. Here's the box score. The Marlins came out in the first, scoring the first run, and then the Yankees just had the floodgates open in the top of the fifth, and then in the sixth, the Florida Marlins try to come back, but they only get 1 run, and that was it for the day. Andy Fox, he comes in as shortstop. Edgar Renteria gets 1 hit. Wade Boggs, he looks like the man of the night, getting 3 hits, 1 run in, 1 RBI, but 3 out of 4. That's not bad for him. Gary Sheffield only 1 for 4, but he gets that somewhat crucial home run at the end. For the pitching side, Key goes for 7, Fernandez goes for 4.2, and then Saunders comes in for 2 1/3, and then Voltsberg and Powell in the game, while Wedland and Nelson both get an inning, and Nelson with his second save of the series, and the player of the game is Jimmy Key, the starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. So to game 3, Dwight Gooden for the Yanks and Livan Hernandez for the Florida Marlins. Let's see how this goes, and let's remind you that the Yanks are up in the series 2-0. And in game 3, Hutton takes the win over Felix Herrera, and the Yanks win 8-7, but did it go into extras, which I kind of wish it showed that. Oh, and yes, it is actually in Yankee Stadium. The game went through 14 innings. No changes here. Dalton becomes the DH. Gary Sheffield and Bobby Bonilla stay at their positions. Dalton does get 3 hits out of 7 at bats. Bobby Bonilla gets 3 out of 6. Jeter still in it, though, with 4 hits at 8 at bats when expected to be in the on the DL, on the disabled list. But with that, it looks like 19 hits to 13 with 9 strikeouts, but 18 strikeouts for everyone. It came that Dwight Gooden still has his stuff, only pitching 4 innings in that game. Livan Hernandez only 4 2/3. But I think it's going to come down to the next game. Of course, the Yankees will be up 3-1. Well, 3-0. But but player of the game, Cecil Fielder, with that. And let's look at his stats real quick. 4 hits, 4 RBIs, 2 strikeouts, but he did get that walk and 1 run in. So with that, we go back, and now it's game 4, the deciding factor for the Yankees. Can they win it all, sweep the Florida Marlins, or will the Marlins start streaking right at the right time? For the Yankees, we have Kenny Rogers, and for the Florida Marlins, we have Al Leiter. And this is going to be crazy. Here we go. And no! not confetti time for the Yankees. They lose 10-3. Leader gets the win, Rogers gets the loss, and Tony Saunders gets the save. Home runs, one from Jeff Conine, one from Charles Johnson, and one from Gary Sheffield. They were bringing out the bats tonight for the Florida Marlins. And let's take a look here. You can tell right in the later half of the lineup for the Florida Marlins, 3 hits out of 5 for Dalton, 3 out of 4 for Johnson, 2 out of 5 for Conine. And those guys were your home run. Johnson and Conine, Gary Sheffield with a hit, his only hit, and of course a home run. I think right now, if I think about it real quick, Gary Sheffield only hits home runs or he doesn't get on base at all, it seems like. But 15 hits for the Florida Marlins. But let's compare them to the New York Yankees. Jeter with 2 and Duncan with only 2. Tim Raines 2, but everybody else had 1 or none. Compare that with the Florida Marlins. You have 15-9, 10-3 runs. The Yankees got on the board first in the first inning with 2, and then the Florida Marlins just keep on going back. 3 in the second, 3 in the third, 3 in the 7th, and 1 in the 8th. And only 1 error from the Florida Marlins. And let's take a look at the pitching real quick. Leader going 6 with 2 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 earned, and then Tony Saunders going 3 innings, 5 Ks, and getting that save. Well, Kenny Rogers goes 3 innings, 5 hits, 6 earned, no strikeouts. Then Mendoza goes 3, only gets 2 strikeouts. Lloyd goes for 2/3 of an inning, doesn't even get out of it, and he gets 3 earned. And Pavlas only had 3 strikeouts in 2.1 innings. And your player of the game was Charles Johnson. Of course, Johnson with 3 hits, 4 at bats, 3 RBIs. It's hard to say that he couldn't be the man of the match, the player of the game, or man of the match if you're a soccer fan. So the Yankees lose 1, so now it's 3-1 in the series. And we're going back to the game 1 starters. We have Andy Pettitte for the Yankees and Kevin Brown for the Florida Marlins. And this is in Yankee territory now, and this could be the one. So here we go, Andy Pettitte versus Kevin Brown. And the Marlins win again, 4-2. Wolfsburg with the win, Whitland with the loss, Jeff Conine with another home run, and Cecil Fielder with a second of the series. So let's take a look at the box score. Nobody scored until the Marlins got the first hit of the night in the first run of the night in the 7th. Then the Yankees went back in the 8th, got that run in, and then the Florida Marlins got 3 in the top of the 9th, and the Yankees could not come back. They did get that run at the bottom of the 9th, but ultimately the Marlins win by 4-2. But the Marlins had only 7 hits compared to the Yankees' 10. But the 2 errors, which is really interesting, that the Marlins have been really the error team, and really the team that has the fewest errors win. But the Marlins have been changing it up for the Yankees. So anyway, Gary Sheffield going 2 for 3 of the night with 1 walk and 2 runs going in. Dalton not doing much like he was the past couple of games. Johnson not doing much, going 0 for 3. Conine going 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. And that's really good for the Florida Marlins. only 10 strikeouts. Last game, the other games, they struck out a lot. I think if I remember correctly, they had more strikeouts than hits in all their games. And of course, it includes this one. But this one's really interesting because the Marlins they win 4-2 with only 7 hits and 2 errors. For the New York Yankees, Jeter is not going out of this one. He wants this one bad, going 2 for 4, 1 strikeout, 1 base on ball. Boggs going 1 for 5. He hasn't been doing much for the series. Bernie Williams hasn't done much for the series. Cecil Fielder, the man of the player of the game, not the man of the match, did well the other night, but falters in this one, going 1 for 4 with a run and 1 strikeout. For the pitching, though, Kevin Brown going 7 1/3 innings, throwing 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and 7 hits, while Vosberg going 1 and 2 innings and leaving players in the dust. He does get the earned run with a hit, but he is closing it down for the Florida Marlins. As for Andy Pettitte, he goes 7 2/3 with 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 8 Ks. Not like his first game where he only had 5. But Nelson comes in, your usual closer, comes in early. Then Wetland comes in just before that, and he gets the loss, which is interesting because Beauregard gets the last 2 outs of the game, but Wetland is credited for the loss. And of course, the player of the game is pitcher for the Florida Marlins, Kevin Brown. And now we go back to Florida, to Miami, where Jimmy Key will face Alex Fernandez. Key was the man of the game, the man of the match. I'll just keep on saying that. Was the man of the match for the New York Yankees in Game 2. But is it really going to be him this go-around? Jimmy Key for the Yankees, Alex Fernandez for the Florida Marlins. The New York Yankees still lead the series 3-2. And we simulate, and the Yankees win the series 4-2 in the first ever MLBeers Historical Showdown, where the fans take on the hosts. And Key gets the win, is credited for the win. Fernandez is credited for the loss. No home runs. Let's look at the box score real quick. And for Jeter, he gets 3 hits at 5 at-bats, 1 RBI. Then you have Duncan going 2 for 4. And then Joe Girardi, the catcher, going 4 for 5. No strikeouts, 1 RBI. And again, this is in Miami, so this was a really big one. As for the Florida Marlins, trying to figure something out, only get 3 hits of the night, while the Yankees get 13. And 1 error from each side. So let's see how this goes. Clear zeros all around and till the 4th inning. Well, until the 5th, the Yankees score first with 2 in the top of the 5th, and then the Yankees just shut the Marlins out. Nobody on the base paths. Only 3 hits. Big story. Big upset. Well, not necessarily an upset, but this was a big win in Florida, in Joe Robbie Stadium. I thought it was still Sun Life Park by then. Anyway, so no home runs on either side, but for the pitching, Key goes 7 innings with giving up 2 hits and 5 walks, but striking out 9 in the process. Wetland going 1 inning, 1 run, 2 walks and 3 Ks, and Jeff Nelson 1 inning of duty, 1 inning, striking out 1. Probably the the game-winning strikeout, the series-winning strikeout. But Alex Fernandez, he had his mind on his own. He went 7 innings with 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 Ks. Wolfsburg goes in for a third of an inning, gives up 3 runs and an earned run. Well, 3 hits and an earned run. Powell comes in for an inning, giving up 1 hit, but he gets the 2 earned runs from Wolfsburg. And then Rob Nin, I should say, not Wren, but Rob Nin comes in for 2/3 of an inning, gets 2 hits. But the power was there tonight for the Yankees, and there's no way that the Yankees could have won. I mean, they were a mixture of a young but experienced team. The Florida Marlins was star-studded. They bought everybody, and then they just bought everybody. Jimmy Key was the player of the game, and that is it, folks. What happens after that is your series MVP was Derek Jeter. Jeter for the series went .500, had an on-base percentage of .559 and a slugging of .633, 4 RBIs, 1 home run. Big series for the young Derek Jeter. I really don't know what's going to happen with that kid. Ha ha, funny. Try to make some funnies here. Anyway, so after their respective seasons, the '96 Yankees make it to the playoffs but lose to the Cleveland Indians in the ALCS, and the Florida Marlins would have played the Cleveland Indians. After the Florida Marlins 1997 series, the ownership went on a fire sale, gave up all their great players like Edgar Renteria, Bobby Bonilla, Jeff Conine, Craig Counsell, Moises Alou, Gary Sheffield, after winning it all and making profit off of this. So anyway, in the first ever MLBeers Historical Showdown, where the fans play against the hosts, the fans, the New York Yankees of 1996, beat the Florida Marlins of 1997 4-2, and your series MVP was little shortstop Derek Jeter from the New York Yankees. And I would like to thank you all for listening in, actually watching. I forget that this is not a podcast, but a video cast. Well, anybody that is watching this, to the fans, thank you very much. Next week, we don't know who's going to be playing who, but it will be very interesting. And if you want your own comments, you can. If you want to comment about this or want to talk about this, you can find us on Twitter for the MLBeers podcast on Twitter, or email us at majorleaguebeers@gmail.com. I hope this goes real well. So anyway, win or lose, there is always booze, and I'm going to drink a lot because of this loss. Thank you, folks. You guys have a good night.